To get the pistons out of this engine, what we're going to do is we're going to take the caps off from the rods. So here's the caps. These are the main bearings. So there's the main bearings right here. And if you notice on the main bearing caps, there's arrows that point to the front of the engine. It's very important that these main bearing caps stay oriented to the main bearing that they came off from. And same thing with the rod caps. Sometimes on the rod caps there's arrows that point towards the front of the engine, and sometimes you have to number them yourself. Now on these, it looks like somebody has already numbered them. There's a 1 and then there's an arrow pointing this way. That's a good idea to do that, and that way you make sure that the connecting rod goes back in the same place that it came out of. So what we're going to do now is we're going to loosen these bolts on the connecting rods, and we're going to pull the pistons out. The pistons go out of the top of the engine, so we're going to push the pistons down through this way. Don't try and push the pistons back this way, otherwise you'll run into trouble. Okay, I've pulled the rod caps off of all of them except for this last one right here. So this is what the rod journal looks like in the connecting rod. So we'll go ahead and take this last one off. And like I say, I've already loosened these. One of the things I wanted to show you is a wrench like this right here instead of using a ratchet to break things loose. So you break it loose with a breaker bar instead of a ratchet. Yeah. So to push the piston out, what we're going to do is we're going to push the piston all the way down to the bottom, and then reaching underneath the engine block. Then we're just going to push the piston all the way out, and the piston just comes out just like that. That's good. Okay, now that we have all the pistons out, you can see the connecting or the crankshaft, how it moves nice and easy. The reason this engine wasn't turning over is probably because the connecting rods were torqued wrong, or they may not have had enough lubricant on them. When you assemble the pistons, and when I show you how to put the pistons back in, we need to put quite a bit of assembly lube on these journals so that the piston has enough lubrication to move around. But it looks like everything's working fine now.